Hi, how you doing? And welcome back to another video on the channel. What we have for you today is a quick review of Game Week 4, how my team did, as well as a preview of Game Week 5 and my thoughts moving forward. So if you are new to the channel, please do like and subscribe. Really is appreciated, especially as we close in, hopefully, on 100 subscribers before the end of the season. So let's get into it. So as we get my team on the board, we're also going to take a look at the overall ranks. And it was a pretty good week for me, 79 points in total, which gives me an overall rank of just about 134,000, which is fantastic. I'm normally not doing this well, and whilst it's still super early in FPL, I would rather be at this rank than my usual rank at this time of the season. And I'm not anticipating that I'll be this rank forever, but I will definitely appreciate it and try and hang on to it for as long as I can. But as we get the keepers up, Onana another blank, and I mean a blank with 0 points. Matt Turner on the bench with 5, which, in hindsight, I probably wouldn't have put in Matt Turner as he was playing Chelsea away. But 5 points, whilst it doesn't seem like a big amount, it does add up. And especially at this stage of the season when everyone's ranks are so close, those 5 points really would make a difference. I'm not too concerned about Onana moving forward, but I would like Man United to be a bit more consistent with the performances in general, I guess. Moving on to the defence, and it wasn't a great week there either. Ake got a goal, which probably should have been disallowed, let's face it, but a lot of times in FPL, those decisions will be going against you. It's nice for it to go for me for once, so I will definitely take the points. Saliba, I wasn't anticipating that he would keep a clean sheet against Man United, as we did say we thought there'd be goals. So 2 points there is kind of what it is. But Ben Chilwell, it was disappointing that he only got 1 point. Also got taken off relatively early on as well. So be interesting to monitor that moving forwards. But Chelsea weren't playing well, so they obviously needed to shuffle it up a little bit. But hopefully, in future game weeks, his minutes will be a bit more consistent and a bit more improved moving forward. The bench didn't perform well either, so it's not like there was loads of points on the bench, which I regret, not putting into my starting 11. So it's a bit concerning that only one player out of my, whole six defenders here got more than 2 points. That is something that I'm looking at making changes on, and we will be releasing a transfer thoughts video later in the week, just because I've got two free transfers moving into game week 5. The midfield did keep my team afloat, kind of. They keep ticking over to the midfield, and there's a lot of returns here, and it's spread out, which is good. It's kind of what I like, is a few different players returning, because it shows that if, one week, say, my defence doesn't perform, hopefully the midfield will. Ironically, the only player who didn't return in my midfield was Raheem Sterling, who was someone I transferred in. I think, hopefully he will be performing better moving forward. But in terms of the pluses, I did get returns from Saka and Rashford in that Arsenal Man United game, and Mbuemo scored late on for Brentford. And I'm super grateful that Brentford's fixtures and their games don't finish 5 minutes earlier than what they do, because I think Mbuemo's now got two last-minute goals for them, which is just really helpful when you're looking at an overall point score for your team. Up front, absolutely the right decision to captain Erling Haaland, and that's why we kind of say you need to captain him no matter what, because even though on the odd week you might captain another player who does end up scoring more points than Haaland, more often than not he will score the most points out of everyone in your team. And when that does happen, you don't want to be missing out on 20 points. Like let's say you didn't captain Haaland and millions of other people did, you're automatically 20 points behind everyone else before you even look at the rest of your team. And those 20 points are really hard to make up, because other people who did captain Haaland also have 10 players still to play in their team as well. Now, I'm not too bothered about Watkins blanking, because he had a tough fixture and he did get 3 assists in his first 3 games. I do think, with Villa's fixture swing coming up, if I was to take him out, I think in a week or two, everyone will start talking about how you need to get Aston Villa players in. So I would like to be ahead of the curve with that. So whilst not scoring a goal yet isn't ideal, it's not like he's been not scoring any points at all. He's still been getting attacking returns, even though they've not been goals. So let's take a look at the fixtures for this week. And to be honest, it's nice to not have a Friday evening deadline. I think it's the first time of the season that we haven't had a Friday deadline, and it just gives everyone a bit more time, to think about their team and make those transfers on a Saturday morning. Because Usually people are busy on a Friday and they don't always have the time to think about the team properly. That being said, the Liverpool game is pretty nice as well to start with. I think if you've got Liverpool players, you'll be looking forward to playing Wolves away. Do be aware that sometimes the 12:30 kickoffs, I would especially say after an international break, aren't always the highest scoring. So it'll be interesting to see whether this goes against that trend. Up for the 3 o'clock kickoffs, and there are some pretty good games going on here. A lot of games where you'd be interested to see how both teams do. Like your Man United Brighton, like your West Ham Man City. I think Man United Brighton is good game to look at in terms of moving forward because you'll be interested to see, can Brighton maintain it? Can Man United turn it around? Because really, these two teams, it's a bit of a six-pointer because they're both going to be going for that fourth, fifth, sixth place in the Premier League, you would like to think. So how they do really does matter. And I'll also be looking to see how whether West Ham roll over for Man City or whether this start to the season that they've done is legit. You would expect Man City to win, but looking at West Ham and how they've started the season so far, you would think they're going to make it difficult for Man City. That Spurs Sheffield United game is a really good one for Spurs as well. If you've got a Spurs player, you're definitely starting him. Maybe captaining Madison. Don't really know whether you'd go against Erling Haaland at this point in the season, like we've just said. But if you were going to go against Erling Haaland, maybe you're doing a sort of a theme for the season where you don't captain Haaland. I would definitely be looking at a Spurs option. The 5:30 kickoff on Saturday is Newcastle versus Brentford. Now, that is a tricky one for Newcastle. They kind of need to get to winning ways again if they want to perform in the league this season. But Brentford are not going to go down without a fight. And I think, really this will give us a lot of information as to, whether you're going to target Newcastle players moving forward as the fixtures change. I think if they don't perform well against Brentford, that will really put a lot of question marks in the minds of FPL players. Into Sunday's fixtures, and we've got Bournemouth versus Chelsea and Everton versus Arsenal. Both of those are pretty good fixtures for Chelsea and Arsenal, but you would have said that for Nottingham when Chelsea played Nottingham Forest. It'd be a good fixture for them. So really, you'd be looking to see, can they establish some sort of consistency in their performances. Bournemouth away doesn't look like the worst game in which to do that with. But the flip side of that is if they don't perform, then really what are you going to do with your Chelsea players? Arsenal away at Everton looks great for Arsenal attackers. Everton are conceding goals left, right, and centre. And I think, Arsenal attackers are absolutely fantastic. I think if you weren't going to captain Erling Haaland, which we are advising you absolutely to do that, you maybe would captain Saka in this game. Monday night's fixture is not necessarily going to set the world alight, but it is a good fixture for Nottingham Forest in terms of the fact that Burnley aren't really scoring many goals. I would also say that the pressure is on Burnley to try and get a result here. And if they don't, maybe they start becoming a team that you possibly target in terms of, when your FPL players are playing Burnley, you start them, or maybe when a team is playing Burnley, you look at getting in some of their opposition players for the short term. So let's have a look at my team and how it lines up for this game week 5. So in goal, I've decided to start Matt Turner this game week. I think Man United don't have the best fixture and really, they're not performing well. So at a certain point, you kind of got to read the performances and the data and say, actually, maybe it's not good to start Onana over Matt Turner because, Matt Turner, whilst it is Burnley, like we say, they do struggle to score goals to Burnley and Nottingham Forest are at home. It's not like they're away, Man United are at home. It's a pretty much a level playing field. So I might just, ride the Nottingham Forest wave after that good fixture against Chelsea. My defence looks okay. Now, I thought that last game week, but Man City with West Ham away, well, Ake start. I think we're going to have, like I say, release another video this week looking at fixtures and players to get out. And the defence is an area which is slightly concerning me. But this game week, there does seem to be enough good fixtures to, at least give me hope with them. So Chilwell and Saliba, whilst they have away games, they're playing teams that you would expect them to beat. And if they're beating them, they might be keeping a clean sheet as well. On the bench, I've gone with Estupinan and Baldock. I've put Estupinan as the first bench player because Man United away is a tricky fixture for Brighton and then yet to keep a clean sheet. So, no clean sheet in 4. Would I expect an attacking return from Estupinan? Probably not, even though he is looking good player. So I think really I base my defenders' decisions on, do I think they're going to keep a clean sheet? You can't really put a defender in who's not going to keep a clean sheet on the hope of attacking returns over a defender who's playing a worse team and who might keep a clean sheet. So clean sheets first, attacking returns second for the defence. Into the midfield we go, and whilst there is a lot of away fixtures for my team this game week, the teams they're playing don't look the worst. Like we say, Mbuemo with Newcastle away, Newcastle aren't performing that well, so you would think Mbuemo might have a chance, but you kind of expect Newcastle to also turn it round. Uh, Rashford, Saka, Sterling, Foden, I don't see why they couldn't return against the teams they're playing, so semi-confident there. And up front, Watkins has a nice fixture at home to Crystal Palace. I would really like to see him scoring. On the one hand, you're like, oh, well, he's getting the assist, but you do kind of want your strikers to also score goals at some point during the season. And the captain's armband is absolutely going to be on Erling Haaland as well. I just don't see a risk to take when I wouldn't captain him for the reasons we said earlier. So let me know what you think about my team. I've got 2 free transfers, which I say we'll discuss in a different video this game week. But if you do have any ideas on who I can get out of my team and who I could get into my team instead for the short term, at least, let me know. And any questions about your own team, put them in the comments. Always do try and get back to all the comments in the videos. And thank you very much for listening, and I will see you in the next one.